Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. Our movie Os Destemidos today starts in the city of Hollistorf in Germany, where we meet a boy named Moritz, who is getting ready for his team's final soccer match. We learn that his father, Holger, is the team captain. We see him calling his son to come down and have breakfast with them, but as Moritz comes down, he accidentally kicks the ball onto the table. After getting a proper scolding, the boy gets into the car and asks his mother Janine to come and watch the match. From their conversation, we understand that the mother is always busy and won't be able to watch her son play, but she promises him that this time will be different and she'll come to watch and cheer for him. After getting everything ready, Moritz and his father go to the stadium to play the final match against the Con team. During the match, Hollistorf loses 2-1, and while playing, Moritz gets the ball and has the chance to score and tie the game, but the boy zones out and imagines himself playing in the World Cup final. Moritz gets really excited and tries to score with a tricky move, but instead, he breaks the goalkeeper's nose. Seconds later, the match ends and the other team wins. This makes Moritz's teammates upset with him, as this isn't the first time he's let the team down because of his daydreaming, which has cost them many chances before. As soon as he enters the locker room, Moritz finds Janine, who also arrived late at the stadium. The mother tries to comfort her son, and together they go to look for the father, only to find him in a very embarrassing situation. Janine gets angry, asks for a divorce, takes her son Moritz, and travels with him to another town to her father, Holy. After the long journey, the boy meets his grandfather and learns that he has a small workshop and keeps his stuff in his mother's old room. Moving to another town isn't easy at all for Moritz, but Janine talks to him and tells him that everything will get better. She also promises Moritz that his grandfather will take him to the stadium and sign him up for the local soccer team. Indeed, the next morning, Holy takes Moritz to the stadium and talks to the well-known coach Hofkrick. It's clear that the two don't like each other at all, but Holy asks him to give his grandson a chance. Hofkrick is busy on a call, so he sends his son, the team captain, to test the boy. The problem is that his son is Mark, the goalkeeper whose nose Moritz broke in the last match. When Mark sees Moritz, he calls the other players, and they all gather around him, making him stand in the middle and start shooting balls at him. Holy quickly steps in, helps Moritz up, and takes him away. When Moritz tries to thank him, Holy clearly doesn't want to talk. The next day, Moritz starts at his new school. During lunch, he sits next to a boy named Enz, who tells him that his parents are also getting divorced. Enz introduces Moritz to his little brother Emmett and their friends Nico and Katrina. They invite Moritz to play soccer with them, but as soon as Mark and his school team arrive, Mark mocks them, kicks their ball away, and tells them to give up on soccer because they aren't even a real team. This makes Moritz more determined, so he suggests to the kids that they form their own soccer team. In the next scene, we see them looking for a field to practice on. They keep searching until they find an abandoned place next to a house, but Moritz thinks it's perfect for training. He goes to the registration office to register their new team and chooses the name Ost Destemidos. When the secretary asks about the coach, he says they don't have one yet, so she tells him they can't participate. Not wanting to miss the chance, Moritz registers his grandfather as the coach, especially since his grandfather used to be a soccer player. Finally, the kids return to their new field, start fixing it up, cut the grass, look for things to make goalposts, and get the place ready so they can play. When they finish, Moritz celebrates that he'll finally be able to teach Mark a lesson he won't forget with his own team. Unfortunately, Mark is standing right behind him at that moment, hears everything, and walks up to Moritz, telling him he'll pay for all this. Suddenly, a group of teenagers appears with a guy named Alex. As soon as Mark and his friends see him, they get scared and run away. Then Alex asks Moritz to let him join their team, and Moritz agrees to thank him for helping him out. At night, Janine asks her son to take dinner to Holy, who works as a security guard at the Half-Crack Mall. When Moritz arrives, he tries to talk to his grandfather about being the team's coach, but Holy doesn't listen and starts telling him about his late wife Marianne. He says that he used to be an important player on the school soccer team, along with Hofkrick, who was his close friend. Back then, both of them loved the same girl, Marianne. When she chose Holy, Hofkrick felt betrayed, and since then, they haven't spoken. So Moritz doesn't get a chance to ask his grandfather to be the team's coach and goes back home. The next day, he and the kids start training. Alex introduces Moritz to the rest of the group, and the team finally reaches 11 players so they can participate in tournaments. During practice, Alex and his friends start doing stunts and flips to score goals, but most of the time they fail, and the team is really hopeless. But Moritz encourages them, telling them that with determination they can beat Mark and his team. At the end of practice, Katrina feels that all Moritz thinks about is beating Mark instead of playing soccer for fun, which is what makes him happy. Moritz doesn't understand why she's making such a big deal out of it, so Katrina grabs her bag and goes home. In the next scene, we discover that Mark lives with her in the same house, and we also learn that her stepfather forbade her from playing soccer because he thinks it's not for girls and forces her to play tennis instead. But Katrina isn't planning to give up her love for soccer and keeps training with the kids on the field. While they're warming up, the kids aren't used to each other's moves, so there are a lot of fights. During practice, Moritz asks Katrina to pass the ball, but she's still upset with him and decides to kick the ball far away. When Moritz sees she did that on purpose, he gets really mad and tells her she's holding the team back and wasting their time just to make Mark and his team win. This makes Katrina even more upset, and the two of them start fighting with each other, and the rest of the team intervenes to separate them. Days pass, and the date of the first qualifying match between them and the other team arrives. Ans is drawing on the players' t-shirts and putting their numbers on when the referee comes to talk to Moritz after noticing that the team only has 10 members because Katrina still hasn't arrived yet. He also asks about the coach since he doesn't see him on the field, but Moritz assures him he's on his way. Then Moritz goes to talk to his mother and asks Holly to bring him his teddy bear because he considers it his lucky charm. Janine actually does that and asks her husband to take the teddy bear to her son, even though he doesn't want to leave the house. He arrives there, having no idea what Moritz has done so far. As soon as Holly arrives, Moritz tells the referee that their coach has arrived. At that moment, Katrina also arrives, completing the team. Finally, the match starts. Because the team doesn't know how to work together and no one helps the other, unfortunately, they lose with a score of 12-0 to the other team. After this disaster, the kids return defeated, but Moritz tries to lift their spirits and tells them they still have a chance in the second qualifying match. But when they return to the field, they find workers there building a new building on the land, and thus any hope of winning the match is unfortunately lost. But after a few days, Moritz thinks of a completely different plan. At night, he talks to his friends and tells them to meet him at the mall. There, he uses his grandfather's card to enter the place. When they find Holly asleep, Moritz takes the kids and runs through the corridors, agreeing to train there without his grandfather noticing. Finally, the team continues training. In the middle of the match, Moritz does the same move he did at the beginning of the film, flipping in the air and kicking the ball, but it doesn't go into the goal and flies toward the escalator. As soon as Holly sees the kids after they entered the mall, he goes to them and asks what's going on. Moritz tries to explain and justify his actions, but Holly tells him he knows everything, and also knows that Moritz put his name down as the team captain behind his back. But instead of making the kids leave, he tells them they are talented players, but they still don't know how to play together as a team. He agrees to be their coach and train them to prepare for the next qualifying match in 4 days. The kids are very happy and follow Holly's instructions, who first teaches them how to keep the ball as long as possible. They keep training in the mall during these days, and in a very short time, their level improves until the match date finally arrives, where they are supposed to play against the opera team. Before the match, Holly gives them real t-shirts but warns them that they will only keep them if they win. The whole team gets excited, puts on the t-shirts happily, and then the match begins. The kids still don't know how to work together as a team, especially Moritz and Katrina, who fight over who will play offense. At that time, Alex takes the ball from them, spins in the air, and scores a goal. After the match, Holly takes the kids out to lunch to celebrate. Lance is very happy to hear this and goes down to the field. The team gets ready to finally play against Marco and his team. The match starts and the two teams fight over the ball. Nico is pushed by the other team and gets a foul, but the referee lets them continue playing. Marco's team keeps cheating and pushing the players, but the referee pretends not to see every time. When the boys decide to do the same, the referee blows the whistle and gives a penalty kick. This helps Mark and his team score a goal, making the score 1-0 so far. They keep playing, and Katrina tries to make her move and shoot the ball, but the goalkeeper saves it. When she gets another chance, Moritz sees Katrina calling for him to pass the ball, but he tries to score instead, and the ball hits the post. Because of that missed opportunity, the match ends in favor of Mark's team. In the next scene, Bird, who was watching the match and cheering for her daughter, tells Katrina that she's very proud of her and knows that her daughter's team lost because her husband was cheating. After that, Halfcrack throws a party to celebrate his son's team's win. When Bird sees her daughter upset, she tries to convince Halfcrack to let Katrina join his team, but her husband refuses and says he'll never let girls play on his team. On the other side, things aren't going well for Moritz and his family. His grandfather is fired from his job as a security guard by Halfcrack, and Janine still hasn't found a job and doesn't know how she'll help with the expenses. When Moritz comes home, she asks him what happened in the match, but he's angry and shouts at his mother, saying he's fed up with this place and blames her for everything. At that moment, Janine also loses her temper and shouts at him, sending him to his room as punishment for what he said. After the fight, Janine sits and cries, not knowing what to do. When she hears her husband outside, she finds him coming to apologize again and asks her to forgive him. He wants to talk to Moritz because, thanks to Bird, Katrina's mother, Halfcrack's cheating in the match was exposed, and Mark's team was disqualified from the competition. This means Moritz and his team have another chance to play in the finals, where they'll compete against Holger's team. He finally asks Janine to come watch the match and says they need to talk and try to be a family again. Moritz is very happy to hear this and runs to Katrina to tell her the news. When he gets to her house, he calls her from below, and she comes out to the window. He apologizes for not passing her the ball during the match and promises that from now on they'll play together. He tells her to gather the rest of the team, and Katrina agrees and comes down from the window. At that moment, Mark comes and tells them he won't let them get away so easily, and he challenges Moritz, fights with him, and hits him. Unfortunately, Moritz can't defend himself, but then he hits Mark hard and breaks his nose again, telling him to leave him alone because he's not in the mood for him. After that, Moritz and Katrina run away and go to meet the rest of the team. While the whole team starts to gather, Holly is at the bar, upset that he can't help the boys win. After drinking and getting really drunk, he leaves the bar and goes for a walk alone. He's distracted and lights a cigarette, and at that moment, a car hits him. The next morning, Moritz hears the news and goes with his friends to the hospital to check on their coach. There, they find Janine waiting outside. Luckily, Holly survives the accident, and as soon as he hears from the boys that Halfcrack was cheating, he gets very excited to go with them to the final match. But Holly's leg is broken, and he can't walk or go to the field until he's completely healed. Of course, without the coach, the team can't play. But Moritz thinks of another way to solve the problem. On the other side, Holger finishes training his team but can't stop thinking about Janine and Moritz. After a while, he sees Janine enter the field, so he runs to her and asks for another chance. When he asks her about Holly, she tells him that he's sick, and she took his place as the team's coach. Holger is surprised to hear this, but Janine walks away, wishing him good luck. She then goes to meet the team, and before the match starts, Alex and his father also come to the field. Alex asks to play with his team again. As soon as the team sees him, they get very excited and don't hesitate to let him return, giving him his jersey. After that, Janine calls Holly, who talks to the boys and wishes them good luck, reminding them that they're one team. He talks to Moritz and tells him to be the team captain, and Moritz promises he'll do that. After both teams go down to the field, the referee blows the whistle and the match begins. Holly tries to give Janine instructions over the phone, but she doesn't understand anything about football. But as Moritz is leaving, he meets his father waiting for him in the street. After Moritz gets in the car, the father apologizes for what happened, tells Moritz he misses him and Jan a lot, and gives his son back his ball. But the boy is still upset with his father, gets out of the car and leaves him. After that, the team returns to the mall. Despite winning the match, Holly warns them that they beat the last team, which isn't a real achievement, and that they still aren't using all their abilities. They all agree to give their best in training to improve their level. After a few days, they compete in the round of 16, and the match result is still 0-0. During an attacking move, Katrina, Moritz, and Alex all run for the ball but collide. Luckily, the ball goes into the goal, and the team wins that match too. The next day, it's time for the quarterfinals. Katrina, on her way out to meet the team, finds her mother's husband trying to discourage her and convince her to give up football. But Katrina insists and runs to the field to play with her team against the Bracken team. After everyone gathers, Holly tells the kids they should stop playing as individuals and start playing together as one team. Unfortunately, in the first few minutes, the kids keep messing up and still don't know how to play together, and the other team scores 2 goals. At that moment, Ralph Crack comes to watch the match. When Katrina sees her mother's husband, she decides to prove to him how skilled she is at football. She manages to control the ball, applies what she learned to outmaneuver the opposing player, and scores a goal with 1 shot. She tries to do it again, but the other team trips her and gets a foul. The referee gives them a penalty kick, and Moritz takes it and scores, making the teams tied. After the first half ends and the players rest for a bit, the second half begins. The team learns how to play together as one unit. In the middle of the match, Katrina passes the ball to Alex, who jumps in the air, kicks the ball, and scores, achieving another victory and winning the match. Now, the team reaches the semifinals and goes to celebrate in the mall. There, they run into Mark and his friends again, who tell them they will never reach the finals. But Moritz isn't affected and challenges Mark to a showdown to decide who will control the ball. They agree that whoever keeps the ball for 5 full minutes will win. Mark agrees, but Moritz takes the ball from him with 1 move and passes it to his friends, and the showdown begins between the 2 teams. As soon as the kids find Mark's team surrounding them, Alex takes the ball and runs toward the street. The security guards try to take the ball from him and stop him before he gets hurt, but he flips in the air and escapes easily. But the 5 minutes aren't over yet, and the kids run, passing the ball to each other in the middle of the street, dodging cars. Finally, the ball returns to Alex, who kicks it up, and Mark and Moritz fight over it and over whoever gets it first, and in the midst of the conflict between the 2 teams, the ball falls into Moritz's hands, and for the first time in his life, he doesn't let his team down. Even though they won, the commotion they caused in the streets drew people's attention and made them call the police. Both teams had to run away. After a while, the boys are happy that they managed to win the battles, and they cheer Alex for his effort. And Anas says that he's also the coolest guy in school and asks him about the rumors going around about him. The boys from the other team don't understand what he means by that, but Alex doesn't like the question, so he leaves. Meanwhile, at Katrina's house, Halfcrack is determined to make his team win and get revenge on Haley. So he calls the referee, who will be in the next match, and tries to blackmail him, but the referee's mother answers. Katrina's mother overhears him talking but keeps it a secret so her husband doesn't get hurt. All this happens while Moritz has no idea what's going on. He goes to Alex's house to understand what happened, and Alex tells him that he used to act in plays, and one day they asked him to play a very important match, but on that day his mother went to jail to bail out his father after he was arrested. arrested again. After that, she sent Alex to look for his younger brother Tommy, but Alex was afraid to lose his place on the team and left him alone in the room. Then Alex went to the match, scored a goal, and made his team win. But when he came back home, he found the police everywhere and discovered that his brother had an accident and died. Since then, he has blamed himself for what happened. After hearing all this, Moritz helps him calm down, but Alex leaves and decides not to play the next match. The next morning, Alex doesn't show up for the match, but Holly convinces the team to play without him and tells Lance to play in Alex's place. So the players get more confused and their situation becomes very difficult. As soon as the Hall-Starf team gets the ball, they score a goal immediately and the match continues. The Hall-Starf team gets a penalty kick, and before they shoot the ball, Moritz and his team make a barrier, but the other team still manages to score a goal. So now the other team has scored 2 goals so far, and then the first half ends. Janine doesn't know what to do, so Holly tells her to think of a game plan as if it were a cake recipe. Janine, while hesitant, calls the team and tells them they should play as if they were making a cake, and she starts explaining the recipe, which begins by putting 3 eggs in the bowl. Of course, the guys are surprised when they hear this, but Moritz tells them that his mom is trying to say that they need to change the team's formation and put 3 players up front. They agree to follow this plan and return to the field, with Alex, Katrina, and Moritz up front, and the rest of the team focusing on defense. As soon as the match starts, the players pass the ball to each other and keep exchanging it until it reaches Alex, who scores a goal with his special move, and the plan succeeds. Janine keeps giving them more tips from the cake recipe, and Moritz tries to translate everything and relay it to the rest of the team. In another attack, Alex asks someone to pass him the ball and dribbles past the players after jumping over them until he reaches the ball and scores another goal. Now the score is tied, but Moritz and his team get very excited and pass the ball to Moritz, who starts daydreaming and imagines himself in a World Cup match. He gets ready to shoot the ball, but first he receives it on his chest and passes it to Katrina with his signature move. Katrina shoots the ball and scores a goal, and the match ends with Moritz and his team winning. Everyone in the place celebrates their victory, including Halger, who goes to the other team's area and celebrates with his wife and son. Finally, their family reconciles and returns to how it was before. After that, we see the team lifting the cup, and then Moritz goes to Katrina and congratulates her on the goal, and she thanks him for passing her the ball. The two put their differences aside and agree to make this team the greatest team in the upcoming matches. And with that, today's movie comes to an end. Stay tuned for new videos and summaries. Goodbye.